Hello everyone, Rabbi Abe here. In this video, I'm going to talk about the concept of changing destiny and how do we actually do that. In other words, how to save time in our process. Most of us know we have, a certain type of karmic process. How long does that process take? Does it take a month? Does it take a week? Does it take a year? Does it take 20 years? Well, I'm going to tell you a story that illustrates this point perfectly, I think. And the moment when we feel that we have permission, that we have the strength, that we have the energy to be able to change things in our life. So I want to tell you about Paul. Of course, the names have been changed to protect the innocent. So Paul is a student that I used to have probably about 25 years ago. And he told me a story. The story went like this. Paul was married 20 years and he got divorced. Now, he told me the story from the beginning when he got married, and he said, Rabbi, when I first got married to my wife, I knew that this wasn't the right marriage for me. I mean, I sort of felt that we weren't right for each other. So I said, Paul, why did you get married? He said, you know what? I don't know. I just felt I had to. I said, okay, well, I get that. So what happened then? He said, well, as time went on, things got worse. I said, really? How did it go after the first year? He said it was much worse. I said, so why didn't you split up? He said, well, I just didn't feel that I could. I said, okay. And you married 20 years. What happened after 5 years? Did it get a little better? He said, no. In fact, it got worse, much worse. He said, well, Paul, I don't understand. If it got worse after 5 years, why didn't you split up? Why didn't you get divorced then? He says, I don't know. I just felt I couldn't. 10 years? Same answer. I couldn't. So I said, Paul, let me ask you a question. After 20 years, you finally decided you got divorced. What changed after 19 years, 364 days, and 23 hours? He said to me, I don't know exactly what changed, but, now listen carefully, but I just felt I had enough. I said, what? He said, yeah, I had enough, and enough is enough. So I said, really? He said, yeah, I had it up till here. So, immediately I thought I was being kind of cute. And I said, so what are you trying to tell me, Paul? You mean after 19 years, you only had it up till here? And then after 20 years, you finally had it up till here? And now you could get divorced? He says, yeah. Now, I have to tell you guys, I thought about this for a long time. I really did. And I really tried to understand the inner meaning of what he really was saying. And then, you see, I started reading one of the passages in The Gates of Reincarnation by Rabbi Isaac Luria, by the Ari. And I began to understand more, again, with relation to the karmic process, which we call in Kabbalah Tikun, correction. And then I understood really what Paul was saying, and it's something that we all go through in a certain given time. So let me explain. So you see, in our process, all of our process, we have certain segments of our karmic process that we need to go through, okay? Now, we will go through them, one way or the other, because we have to. Well, we may need to learn something, we may need to change something, we may need to find the inner strength just to stand up for ourselves. Again, we're all different, we all different things to do, right? Different fingerprint, different things to do. No two people on this planet have the same karmic process, but universally, we need to do it. Oh, we need to come back. We need to return in an incarnation. Maybe we need to be given a different constellation, a different zodiac sign. But rest assured, it must be accomplished. Now, in order to accomplish it, we need to give it our full energy. We need to understand that this is what's happening to us. We need to do our best not to react to situations because we just maybe we're adding on to our own bill, okay, by complaining about the process and so on. Okay, that's maybe another discussion. Yes, there's always many discussions. But what is it that happens? What is it that happens for us when we're in a situation and we have a difficult time? But after the difficult time, and we feel sort of helpless, right? We feel sort of helpless to change anything. But somehow, after we've gone through that difficult time, and we feel, again, for not an understandable reason necessarily, that we feel we've had enough, we say, okay, that's it. I've had enough. Enough is enough. And now, only now, you feel you have energy to change. You have permission to change. You have the what with. You have all of a sudden you find a new direction. You find the courage. You find the inner strength. And you say to yourself, now I can make a decision. Now I can change where I am. Now I can leave this abuse. Now I can leave this job. Now I'm able to let go. Now I'm able to change my status, change my situation. Yeah, but what happened? What's the difference? Where did you get this new strength? Where did you find this courage? Where did you find this ability to change when for maybe 20 years, maybe 30 years, maybe 6 months, maybe a long time that you've been waiting and complaining and suffering in a situation, but then finally you say, this is it. I've had it. That's it. I can change. So what's the secret? Well, it's not that much of a secret, but maybe it is. We've paid. That's the answer. We've paid. In other words, for whatever reason, and that's obviously, we may not be able to see always the exact reasons, but when we understand the rules of Tikun, correction, which means spiritual correction, again, the reason why we've come here, when we understand that each one of us have been given situations that we need to pay back or pay into, and there's a difference, okay? Pay into something or pay back something. Now, payment is a funny thing. Payment basically means energy, which will come back. Putting energy back or simply suffering as a result, okay? There's a difference. Hang on. I'm going to get to that. What's the difference? Because one is easier and may save us some time. But when we pay into a situation that we owe, and again, we may not agree, we may not understand, we may not see the reason. Why do I owe? Okay? What did I do to this person? How did I create this situation, maybe in a past lifetime? But again, a certain amount of understanding is required, just that we understand. Yeah, if we're in it, we created it. Then we may not have created it now, but it was created at some point in the past, and that's why I have it now. So that's why I have it, and I need to deal with it. How do we deal with it? Well, most people will just suffer. Now, suffering is a type of payment, okay? It doesn't necessarily change me, but it can help change my status, change my situation, because I owe a certain energy into the situation or into this person. And again, sometimes that's suffering, in whichever way, it's a type of payment. It's not always a payment, but it's a type of payment. Suffering, pain and suffering. So when I've met the quota, if you will, of this amount of energy that I need to put in, understand this is putting energy in by default of the system. One way of payment is by default of the system. Then, once you've paid, do you owe any more? Of course, the answer is no. And that's when you feel enough. What are we really saying? I've had enough? No, I've paid enough. And when you've paid, you feel new energy, strength. You feel, in fact, justified that now I can change my situation. And not a minute sooner. It's crazy how that works. But you know what? We all understand that it does work that way. You can change now what you couldn't change for years, because I've paid enough. I've had enough. I've given enough. So that's one type of scenario. But you know what? 20 years, in Paul's case, is a long time. Is there another way? I mean, is there a better way to pay into the situation? Is there a more efficient way to pay into the situation? Because we may not want to enjoy 15 years or 10 years, or couldn't I have just paid for a month and then saved all of that time and been doing something else, or been in a better situation? And the answer is, according to the Kabbalah, yes, we could have. If we understand how the process works and how to truly proactively use the process. But that takes spiritual work and a knowledge of how to understand how to work with our spiritual tikkun or karma. And this is why I do what I do, to help all of us to save time, understand how to be more effective in life. That's what we do, right? And that's why I'm giving the new crash course that's coming up soon. I keep saying soon, as soon as we get the logistics in place. But that's how we do it. Now, so how do you save time? There's two ways. What we just mentioned is called the default of the system. Default of the system means I have not exercised free will. I've merely passed through nature, a certain part of my nature and their nature, and I've gone through it kind of the long way, okay? Payment in a long way, by default of the system. So how do you go through it with free will? The answer is by being willing to go above nature. Now, that has many facets to it potentially, but let me give you a couple of scenarios, okay? So going above nature means understanding, number one. So wait a second, I'm having a very difficult time, in Paul's case, with this relationship, with this situation, with my job, with my child, with whatever, right? We have difficult situations. What can I do proactively that I can change something that I need to change that will affect this situation in a better way? So what does that look like? Well, it really depends on the situation. But we all are given in every scenario reactive ways to handle things and proactive ways to handle things. Reactive ways we handle things is, number one, we complain. Okay? So how do you counteract complaining? Countering out, or proactive with the urge to complain, is saying, no, wait a minute. No complaining here. I understand, number one, that this is a karmic work for me, and I have something to do here. No complaining. Show me. Light, universe, God, show me what my work here is, because I want to do it in a proactive way. So first off, asking to be for the clarity to see what is it that I'm supposed to do in this situation? How do I make it better? Actually, buy-in within itself already opens you up to get different types of scenarios and different types of answers. Okay? Number two, not taking anything personally. How do you do that? I mean, everything is personal, isn't it? Yes, in the 1%, but the 99% of it, which is the spiritual karmic realm, no, it's not personal. This person is a messenger. Don't take it personally and don't react. Don't get insulted. Don't start defending yourself, because if you're doing that, you're not getting the message. I mean, you can do that. You may feel you have a right to do that. Perhaps you do. But your process isn't going to get any shorter, okay? In that sense, take it as everything, as a message. It doesn't mean that this is a direct message from God. Not necessarily. Everyone has their own stuff, so they may have their own ego. They may have their own agendas, whoever is giving me that message. But it doesn't matter. There's still a message from me. Don't kill the messenger. Look for the message, and look what it came to teach you beyond anything else. Don't react. Certainly not with anger. Again, why? Because this is also like complaining. It just prolongs things. It prolongs a bad situation, okay? And it ends on to your own bill. Don't do it, okay? Hold it. If you have something to tell the other person, which we often do, wait 3 days, wait a week, wait till it's not coming from a reactive place anymore, And then, say it from a place of proactive, calm, peaceful place, a complete place. So I'm not saying don't say anything. I'm not saying if something needs to be said, say it when you don't feel that you must say it now. Not you're being compelled to say it, but you're saying it from a different place. Okay, fine. What else do we do? What else can we do? So I'll give you a total of 3 things. Obviously, there are many, many things that can be, done. But number 3, understanding. 1 second. I must put my full energy into the situation in spite of the fact that I don't feel like it. What does that mean? When we're suffering in a situation or having a difficult time, or we're bored, or we're, again, it's painful, we tend to pull back. It's natural. It's a natural thing that we do. We pull back, and pulling back means we take some of our energy out of the situation. We don't give all of ourselves to the situation, okay? Oh, whatever. You're bored in the job. You don't like what you're doing. You're not totally there. You don't allow yourself. If you're in a relationship, you're not sure this is for me. Maybe you think it's not for me, and I'm having a difficult time. I don't want to be alone, but at the same time, I know this isn't for me. So what do? You're sort of maybe half there. But if you're half there, then it's going to take you much longer to change the situation. It's reactive to pull yourself out. What do I mean? Quick story. I've mentioned it before. I'll mention it again here in this video just to make the point clear. Many years ago, on our way back from driving from Toronto to New York, and this was before GPS, okay? Ancient history. Anyways, I suddenly realized I had taken a wrong turn. I was doing I was going fast. I was doing maybe 70 miles an hour. And the moment I realized I took a wrong turn on the way to New York, I took my foot off the gas, because what do you mean I took my foot off the gas? I took back some of the energy, right? Because I kind of got a little anxious. I said, well, wait a minute. Now I don't know where we are. And so, naturally you slow down. And suddenly I see a sign that comes up, next exit 80 miles. 80 miles away. So what are you going to do now? And I said, wait a minute, stupid. If you're going slower, like I slowed down 40 miles an hour from 70. If you're going 40, it's going to take you way longer just to get to the next place where maybe you can change or figure out where you are. So I said, okay, I get it. I put my foot back on the gas. I mean, if anything, I should go faster. I'm not condoning speeding here, okay? But the speed limit was 70, I believe. So speed it up, because at least it'll get you there quicker to realize, to get past your mistake and get back on course. Well, P.S., the end of this story, that story was, all of a sudden I saw a sign that said, New York, whatever, this way. So somehow miraculously, there was an exit to get back on track. What's my point? The point is that third step of putting your full energy into things, even when you think it's the wrong situation, even when you think it's bad, even when you think, I don't belong here, but I'll just kill time till a better situation comes along. No, it doesn't work that way. No, it's just going to take you longer to get to the realization of where you need to be, or the next thing comes up. Because that's part of your process. Sometimes part of our karmic work is to do what? Is to just keep give of yourself, because you owe this situation your full attention, your full energy. Even though you think, well, but I don't really belong here. Yes, but if you're here now, you do. You do, for the time being. That doesn't mean it's permanent, but it does mean that for the moment, you're here, and until the situation evolves and changes, you put your full energy into it, you need to go through it. So if you put your full energy into it, it's going to be that much quicker. When we're proactive about it and we don't react to the situation, well, things change. And then we feel the right, And then we get the permission. It's divine. It's our soul allows a new situation to come in. So whether it's internally we feel, yes, I can change a situation, or our soul gives a signal to the universe that says, okay, ready, I'm ready for the next new opportunity, the next better thing, the next higher level to come in, then it will, because we've already created the inner permission for that thing to take place. I hope this all makes sense, okay? And that's it. Write your comments in the comment section. If you have questions, please ask them in the comment section in YouTube. And love to everybody, and I'll see you very soon on the next video. All the best. All the best.